So, I always refer to job postings as the post and pray method of finding people, because that's really what you do. You post and you pray, and
Yeah.
really, who are the people that are seeing those ads? People who are looking for a job. So I'm curious as to why you might not have considered going out and actually hunting people down, because those are the people that don't know who you are, that aren't looking for a job, but they might be open to hearing, given the right presentation, right?
Yeah, you're so right. And it's something that I have considered. It's more of it started as a time thing, I would say, where you're like, oh, that's just going to
Mm-hmm.
take that much more time to build those relationships and to reach out to those
Mm-hmm.
people. And
Right.
if they're
It
not
does
even
take a lot of
looking,
time.
like,
Mhm.
and there is something in the back of my head that's, if someone applies, they're actively showing that intention, that, and like, does that mean that they're more engaged as someone who may be more like convinced into the role, if you look at it that way?
Mhm.
But I definitely, like, I used to keep a list of people that I've worked with, like, in
Yes.
as a buyer in other
Mhm.
places, like if I'm looking for software, or if I have an account manager somewhere, who I might hire in the future, who I just had a great experience with and thought could be
Mhm.
wonderful at content writers. And that is something you're definitely inspiring me, that I think that we need to keep that up. And I recently brought on a director of people operations.
Okay, good.
So she is great, and she's been handling more of our recruitment process.
Good,
And
good.
having someone dedicated to that, we may have it may be something we can bring back now. It's definitely something
Mhm.
that hasn't been top of mind for me to head to reach people directly.
Very good. So, what are some of the mistakes in your, moving up the food chain, or as you became a CEO? Some of the mistakes that you've made, and why do you believe you made them? And then what have you done to correct them?
Yeah, I mean, thinking I could do it all. Like, I think a big part of why I was promoted into the position is that I was able to do many things. And I'm interested in many different areas, and I work in many different areas, but I can't do it all.
Mhm.
If we want to grow as a company, there needs to be people who are trained and can take on tasks and are given trust and accountability and things like that to take on tasks. So
Mhm.
I think delegation wasn't my strong suit at the beginning, and I'm learning more how
Agreed.
to do that. And I think a
Mhm.
mistake I've made is also expecting that everyone can learn by experience, and
Mhm.
just kind of throwing them into the fire in certain times, because that may be how I learn best, but it's not how
Mhm.
everyone learns best.
Very good. Yeah.
And so that's something that I've been trying to focus on more, is doing more of that training, and giving people more um, background, and just a little bit more support. Not to say that we are not a supportive company, because we for sure are, but I think me personally, I may not have always given as much as I could have, and it's
Mhm.
really that training kind of, just again, because that's how I learn, is being thrown into it, but it's just not the same for everyone, and that's totally valid. It's not also not fair for a manager to say, oh, well, they can't do it, if they weren't given the right resources to do it. So,
Yeah, interesting. What would you say is the most outdated advice in your industry,
ooh,
if anything?
cheaper is better, or faster is better.
Okay.
And I don't know that anyone's actually saying that, but they are thinking it, or at least like
So
there
cheaper
is.
is
I don't know that there's okay. Maybe that's an unfair. That's not necessarily
okay.
advice, but
Okay.
a lot of people wonder why we can't charge the same rates as there's just a big range in rates in our industry,
Okay.
and our rates are sometimes among more of the premium, but we try to keep our writers engaged. We try to make sure that our writers are able to make a
Mhm.
living, and that doesn't come from charging like 2 cents a word. So it's just, I guess but yeah, I'm not sure the most outdated advice in my
Mhm.
industry, what that might be.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how you pay and how you charge, since you just brought that up. I think that's a good it's something I'd like to learn a little bit more about. Um, what is I don't even know if you can say, what is an average article, average piece of content going to cost someone? And does it depend on the type of content? And does it depend on how many pieces you're producing for any one company a month?
Yep. Yeah. So it primarily depends on the type of content and the length. So we
Hmm.
charge per piece, but by range, because we don't want the writer to think, not that
Yes,
many writers would do this, but like, I'm going
they
to
would.
fluff it up because I'll
Mhm.
get paid more.
Sure, they would.
And we also don't think, like, that writing great content means a really specific word count,
Right.
so we want to give a range, and then
Sure.
we charge based on blog posts 1,000 to 1,500 words, and that's a different price
Mhm.
than a white paper that's maybe the same length, because we
Right.
consider white papers to be more of a research piece that's going to take more time.
Hmm.
So that's kind
I
of the
agree.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Um, looking where you were at, even when you got the promotion to CEO at just, what, 5 employees, 4 plus you, and now at, 4 times that, um, you know, 4 years later, what would you say it makes you the most proud of that growth and how you've done that and what you've been able to accomplish in the company?
Yeah, I'm really proud of um, how far the team has come. There's a few people that have been with us since around that time, and we've really grown together. And sometimes I just step back, like after having a conversation with someone, maybe a one-on-one, or if they're doing a
Mhm.
presentation to the group or something like that. Um, and I just think, like, wow, this person has really grown. Like, this is
Mhm.
awesome. They have so grown in their career and in their presence and in their just professional development overall. I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of our platform. It's been just to think about where it was 4 years ago and what it looks like now. And we've done what we've done with not a ton of developers. So, I think that we're really efficient as a company. We focus a lot on process, having workflows, having documented, everything's documented as much as possible, which is another mistake we've made and learned from, and now we document.
Good.
And workflow too, you don't know that you need a process for something until you have 4 people doing it differently and you're trying to collaborate between them. Something like, you've got a new client and sales is passing that client over to customer service, content success, we call it.
Right. Yep.
And there's 3 different salespeople doing it all different ways, and they don't know, like, no one's sharing the same information. And so we build a process, like,
Mhm.
okay, how do we document that information and how do we pass that along to in the same uniform way so that the customer success people know what to expect and know how to work with their clients, and the
Right.
clients set up for success. There's continuity in what happened between sales and success or service.
Mhm. Mhm.
So those are big things for us, and yeah, I think that's a big one.
Okay. Carol Schultz here. Thanks for watching this excerpt from Authentically Successful. The conversation doesn't end there. So if you want to hear this episode in full and all my conversations with many other successful founders and CEOs, please visit verticalelevation.com/podcast.